Hello, everybody, and welcome to Quantum Leap. Ro, what's going on with you? Oh, you were filming the screen. That was very naughty of you, Ro.
Yeah, I totally forgot my camera up. I'm like, wait a minute.
It's okay. That was actually cool. You should do that every time. Welcome to Quantum Leap Revisited, a show that we do once a week where we celebrate the classic Quantum Leap show, the original one with Scott Bakula and Dean Stockwell. And as usual, I have this fine panel of gentlemen to watch and revisit this classic show with me. First of all, to my right here, I think it's to my right, to my right of you, I have Ro. Ro is host of the Sacrif Podcast, also known as the Sacrif Scuttlebutt Podcast. He's the co-founder of the Red 5 Network, which is a network of podcasters. And in addition to that, he is a veteran broadcast newsman who really understands in the field, in the technical behind-the-scenes type of production equipment stuff and such. And we have him here, and he's always giving us great analysis from his end. That was really bad. I really didn't present you well, Ro. I'm sorry. I kind of got tangled in my own thoughts, but it's okay. People already know you, so they know you're cool, and you can listen to his podcast on Amazon, Apple, and Spotify. Did I get it right, Ro?
Yeah, absolutely. You're a pro.
Okay. So yeah, sorry. It was I could have worded it better. Usually I do, but you guys will forgive me. And then actually, I think that I rearranged the order. Next, we have he's a veteran screenwriter. He has his own Patreon where he teaches people how to write. And he also has his own weekly show called Scripts on Saturdays on his channel, The Script Doctor. And he is, of course, The Script Doctor. And on his show every week, what he does is that he and a guest go over screenplays that Hollywood are now considering, or at some point were considering, or have even greenlit, analyzes these screenplays and evaluates them. And he's here with us today. How's it going, Script?
It's going well. Happy to be here tonight with you, gentlemen, and all those out in the chat.
And we're happy to see you here as usual. Finally, we have Nick. Nick in his local town. He's the local minister. He's also the local locksmith. He's also a consultant to the sheriff and to the firemen. And he has a ranch where he raises goats. And he's also an expert in science fiction. How's it going, Nick?
Going good. Going good.
Going
Looking
good. It's
forward
always
to this
good.
episode.
What'd you say?
Looking forward to talking about this episode. I had fun this week.
Yeah, this was an interesting episode. And always nice to see you in your headquarters. You have the most interesting headquarters of us all.
Just here in my locksmith van. It's the only quiet place I can get to record. It's all craziness in the house.
I understand that. Well, that makes actually perfect sense. But it's just that I don't know of another person that broadcasts live from a locksmith van. So you're my only friend that does that, and it's kind of interesting. But it's cool at the same time. It's different. And of course, we have with us a lot of great people here in the chat. A lot of people that we see here every week, and we're happy to see you here too. And today's episode is A Hunting We Will Go. It was directed, I don't remember by who. Do you remember by any chance?
Andy Cadiff.
Yes, good old Andy. And it was written by Beverly Bridges.
Beverly Bridges and Don and Tommy Thompson, who's been popping up here and there.
I see.
This one actually has a shot-for-shot scene at the end that is from another Don Belisario production.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
Again, what were you saying?
The end of the climactic scene in this is from another Don Belisario production called The Last Rites.
Really?
Remember that? 1988?
I don't understand. What do you mean it's from a different production of his? It's
They've literally remade the scene, but with these characters. I don't know how I can explain it any more simpler than that.
Meaning, did they rehash the plot of that thing for this episode, or just
I didn't
that
say
scene?
Plot, I said the climactic scene. Yeah.
So there was also a situation where there's like a train and a person.
Train and two people fighting two other people. Yep.
Interesting. I actually was not aware of that at all.
Oh, okay. Well, there we go. That's for the listeners out there. Go watch The Last Rites later.
That's why script makes the big bucks.
Having that knowledge is something. Yeah.
I mean, it's random knowledge. I don't know who pays for that type of knowledge, but it's really, really good knowledge. In any case, we appreciate it.
Well, I mean,
Tex Rogers appreciates it.
Well, here's the fun part. Like when we saw in the first 2 seasons of Quantum Leap, we see clear homages to other films, right? Now we actually have an homage to a Don Belisario film that he wrote and directed. So he's not just, taking from other people. He's also taking from himself.
True. That is actually true. I don't think he often does that, but it's interesting that he did it in this case. But I guess without further ado, let me try to share this screen. Because Ro is in suspense already.
Waiting to say it.
Okay, Ro, you can say it now.
Thy must embiggen it. There you go.
Done.
Feel so good about that.
And it was good.
And it was good. And then, okay, so we're here. Let's start with the usual opening, the opening that we all like, the good opening. And then he appears. He's here with a phone in his hand. He's kind of confused. He seems to have a prisoner or something, some lady with him. And she pulls on she pulls him away, and he gets hit on the head. Yes.
I gotta say that Scott Bakula's comedic timing is just genius. It's on another level. And this episode really, obviously there's a lot of episodes that he exercises that talent, but this one is really particularly good on the comedy timing. The physical aspect of the comedy is really cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was almost, I would almost dare say, Steve Martin level of physical comedy.
Yeah.
I agree. I can agree with that. I think that, I say this and I feel like a broken record, but it actually is true that so many times you have this show with episodes that are maybe pretty good or ideas that are pretty good, but the delivery of Scott Bakula and Dean Stockwell is just so great. So it's like they're levels above. I don't want to say they're levels above the material because I like the material, but when you have a TV show with this material, you couldn't hope for a better cast than this. Not when it comes to their caliber of acting, but also their specific chemistry and just how good they are in these roles. It's like a perfect storm of talent.
Mm-hmm.
And
I would say too that Scott is he's a caliber of actor we don't see much of anymore.
True.
He can sing, he can play instruments, he can dance, he can do the physical comedy, he can do the drama, the action. He does all this stuff, and it's amazing whether it be on TV streaming or even some of the movie actors that we see get placed in every single thing, and they're very one note.
It's like Scott went to school for this, and he was put through the ringer to be good at what he does.
Well,
yeah, in an
I'm trying to think of the guy that plays the Mandalorian.
That's what I was going to say. Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
Nick, you took the words out of my mouth. I was just about to cut you off and say that it's just like us seeing every second Pedro Pascal and thinking, why is he here all the time? Scott Bakula is the opposite. You're thinking, how do I not see more of this guy? He's so good.
Yeah, and not to say that I don't enjoy Pedro Pascal, but it's like, oh, he's going to be in this, and going to be in this, and going to be, and it's like he just doesn't seem to have that range that he could be every role. But
right. I mean, you'd think that he has such a spectacular presence and range, and he doesn't. He's an okay actor, Pedro Pascal, but he's nowhere near what they're making him out to be. I rarely see him in stuff that he really, really impresses me. I think that if I had to think of stuff that he was good at, and maybe it's Narcos, and maybe it was Game of Thrones, maybe those earlier roles. And also there's the matter of being overexposed. I mean, how many times can I see that guy in a movie or show?
Well, I think he was actually pretty good in The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent with Nick Cage.
Yeah, he was pretty good in that. I agree.
I think what the reason you're seeing so much of him is because there's so few other actors within that sphere that are as good as he is. And that's why he's being sought after. He's a hot ticket item right now. Everybody wants him. They want to make money off of him for now. But who's actually stepping up to the plate to challenge him and be of equal, if not higher demand? There's not many male actors that can do that right now.
I mean, I think Glenn Powell has been doing pretty good work, and I hope he actually grows from there, because I think that I like Glenn Powell's range more than I like this guy's range, personally.
Well, perhaps. I think that they're kind of on similar footing. The only difference is that Glenn Powell definitely got 10 years of youth on his side compared to Pedro Pascal. So that's a good advantage, which means that once people get bored with Pedro, they might go to Glenn Powell. And
there was that movie, the Hitman or whatever it was, and you may like the movie and you may not like it, but I think it showed that Glenn Powell really has a range there. I thought that he was doing something interesting in that movie, and I was kind of pleasantly surprised with him. Pedro Pascal, I don't know that he has that much of a range. It could be that maybe he's better than I'm saying, and I'm just sick of seeing him in every movie. Sometimes being overexposed is also a bad thing.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is something that you can actually rate to a lot of people. Remember in the early 2010s how Will Ferrell was in like 7 movies in 1 year?
Will Ferrell, at least at the time, was funny.
There's that to it, but when you see an actor doing something is being overexposed, it pretty much means that they're on their way out, because they're grabbing every job they can and then taking that paycheck to invest in something that will sustain them until they get another gig, which most likely will be a smaller budget independent thing that will be difficult to find. Back in the day, it would have been straight to DVD. Now it's probably going to be a straight to Netflix or streaming platform.
But in any case, first of all, I agree with everything you're saying. But back to our thing.
Scott Bakula doesn't have to worry about that. He's still getting residuals off this show, off Star Trek Enterprise.
And NCIS. The guy
NCIS, because he's doing that, yeah.
I have to hand it to him that he makes really good decisions in terms of he chose these kind of shows that have longevity and syndication and home viewing and all this different stuff. Sometimes even iconic pop culture stuff. I mean, Quantum Leap, that in and of itself would have been very good for an actor to have on his belt. To also have Enterprise, and even though I don't love the NCIS with him, just because I feel like it's not the proper use of his talents, even though he's good in it. But still,
it is very good money.
Very good, probably better money than anything that he's done is that NCIS thing. Without looking it up, I can't imagine for starring in that show that they paid him less than like 150,000 per episode, if not more. And that thing ran for years and had like 22, 23, 24 episodes a season. I'm sure that guy walked away with money. He's not, and also at the time he was getting older, still making that kind of money. I'm sure it's great. And syndication is great with that show.
Mm-hmm.
Script, do you happen to know how much? Not that it matters, but how much he got for each episode of NCIS New Orleans? Was it like 150, 200? I don't know, but none of that would surprise me. Even if it was like 200.
200 would be rather low for that time and for what his quote would be on television. He probably got 2 or 3 times that.
Wow. So
he wouldn't have gotten $1 million because the show, as popular as it is, doesn't allow for the budget of like any actor to get $1 million.
No. Mark Harmon, after so many years on it, was able to squeeze really big numbers. But I think that, and he's also an executive producer. I don't know if Scott functioned as an executive producer on New Orleans, but I suspect that he walked away, let's just say, with a few $100,000 per episode. Couldn't tell you an exact number. I would think less than Harmon, but still a few $100,000 an episode. That would surprise me if that wasn't the case. I also suspect that he took the role knowing that it's good money.
Well, I mean, a procedural of that type is kind of like almost a lock. It's like, oh, great, we're doing this criminal procedural. Well, that's at least 5 years, which means I don't have to worry about that.
Rondon Afero says, panel, Google it, $120K per episode of NCIS. The question is, that show was on for like 7 years. I don't believe that for 7 years that's all he got per episode.
I can see that for his first season, but not for subsequent.
Right,
seasons.
that's what I'm saying. That I could see it that they don't know if it's going to do well or not. They're saying, listen, the first season, whatever. But usually, and I can actually share some personal experience here from things that I've been. Not that somebody. How do I explain this? It's not that I got this increase, but I was involved in different business that I saw what kind of increase you get. The standard industry thing is many times 4%. So even if every year they had to increase his salary by 4%, by the 7th year, he's not making 120 no matter what. But I think that in his case, because he's a more high profile actor, even without the 4%, there would be renegotiations or contracts that have really bigger increases from season to season. Maybe they did throw him an executive producer credit, and that's a way to pad him with additional money. I suspect that he made more than that. That's all I have to say.
Remember, 4% is the minimum, right? So that's your starting for negotiations right there. So
exactly. Like if you don't do anything, if you just sit on your ass and do nothing, the standard industry increase is 4%. So if he did nothing for 7 years, that thing continued to grow. He's Scott Bakula. He's the star. I'm sure it worked out even better for him.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless, also keep in mind he wasn't 20 anymore. If in the past he could be more pick and choose or whatever it is, I think at the point they brought him NCIS, he's just like, you take that kind of gig. Who doesn't take it?
Yeah, it's guaranteed work. As I said, procedurals are a very safe show, especially if you can nail the budget and the content, because it's basically comfort food.
Yeah.
Anyhow, back to this episode. I think maybe the chat is a bit surprised that we dug so deeply into the pockets of Scott Bakula.
We're losing text. We're losing text.
Tex is getting annoyed. Tex can't believe that we were sitting and talking about Scott Bakula's salary, and we can't upset Tex. So hunting we will go June 18th, 1976. And at this point, she basically is like, Mother, he's trying to hit me. He assaulted me. And then those guys are like, is that true? And then like he's confused because he doesn't even know what he's doing here. And then very luckily for him, she wants the key to the
ex-husband or something.
Yeah, she's making some, like, I will say this. The only flaw I found in this episode is her Arkansas accent. If you can call it that.
Her Arkansas accent sounds about as good as my Arkansas accent.
I could listen to yours a little more tolerable than hers.
In any case, so at this point, basically, she wants the key to the handcuffs, but when they are looking for the key, they actually get this thing that she's under arrest for stealing money. She's like, "Oh, you're under arrest, lady? Well,
for embezzlement?
For embezzling?" And then she's like, "You're like, hey, you're
one of them
bounty hunter. Don't you know what it is?" Because they're kind of like supposed to be slow and dumb or something like that. It's funny that she kicks him in his ass. I actually was amused by that.
I mean, she's got some sass all throughout the whole episode.
Mm-hmm.
She does. See,
and she works it real well. That I mean, even with that, it's not like he has a badge or something on him. So it's like all you have to do is constantly cry out for help. Like, I'm handcuffed to this guy. He's taking me.
Yeah.
Here, they didn't even need to do a special shot. They just could have had the guy talk, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they didn't make an effort here, Ro.
Yeah. I don't know why they even. I mean, it could have been the actor playing off himself, but you can tell it's Sam's voice. But I don't know if the foreground is that actor.
Right, maybe it is Sam, but if they made that effort just to have Sam and then see this, it almost
what's
seems
the point?
Yeah.
What was the point? But who knows? We'll never know if they actually did it or if it's the same actor. But in any case, he turns around and he's talking to the sheriff, and there's that Rodney guy in the background. He's like, "Well, I'm a deputy. Are you going to bring her over or not?" And then he goes, "Yeah, I'm going to bring her over." I don't know. I don't remember the dialogue, but that's the general idea. And then Al's like, "Sam," and then I think here he says that the previous two bounty hunters were found, one in a ditch, and were both wounded.
No, I think he says that later, doesn't he?
No, he says that around here while he's pretending to still be on the phone so we can talk to
Which
Al.
This was kind of a good little ruse to be able to talk to Al.
Right.
That he's on the phone.
And then he's
later on they're talking when we get to the barn scene, and that one kind of bothered me, but keep going.
He's like, "Oh, she reminds me of my fifth wife, Maxine."
Why did they introduce that? Because they have that threaded throughout the whole thing. And then was it, I don't know.
I'll tell you why. Because he wanted to, the writers, I guess, wanted to show a reason why we think that she's innocent, even though there's nothing really to suggest that she is at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So Al kind of stepping in and saying, oh, like I like her, you know, look at her eyes, look at this and that, just giving her some compliments. It sort of, it makes us feel a little better about her, even though there's really nothing that she does until now that would make us think anything good about her, really. Except for that
But before this, he's only referred to 4 ex-wives, correct?
Yes. Well, he has mentioned that he's been married 5 times, but this is this is the 5th wife that's being first brought up for the first time.
I see. So at this point, she continues to try to get away from him and do all this stuff.
Lisa caught a plot hole.
What is it?
If you look closely, you'll notice that the mirror is missing from the phone booth after the mirror shot.
Let's see. It's more continuity error, like script says usually. But let's see. You're right. There is no.
No, it's right there. It's the angle piece. It's on the angle above the phone itself.
Is it?
I guess it's the whole thing then.
I guess the lighting is
yeah, because it does look like part of the panel.
Yeah.
But
he saw his reflection in the metal in the chrome panel, like that's what it was. So
is that though? Is that? I don't know. I think I don't see a mirror here.
But you know what though? Why would there be a mirror in a payphone though?
There wouldn't be, but the interior would be lined most likely with
like a chrome line or
a chrome
panel,
thing to make it look nice on the inside.
I don't know. I don't see the mirror here.
You keep calling it a mirror, but it's not a mirror.
Okay, I got you.
I think it's just the chrome lining of the inside of the door, and then that explains why he saw himself when he just pulled it.
Yeah, because remember that payphone there, it's not flush with the interior of the wall. It's on an angle in the corner, and then that panel is the square panel that's holding it, and that's a chrome panel.
And then he's on the bus with her, and
Bounty Hunter doesn't have a car.
Yeah.
She pretends that.
Did he chase her down, hitchhiking and bus riding to get there?
That's a good question, Nick. Why wouldn't he have a car, really? But
or maybe something. Why didn't they bring up that something happened to his car?
Right. I think that it would have been wise if they would have put a sentence in there, like even a throwaway one, that she's like, "Well, maybe if your car hadn't fallen in that ditch, we wouldn't be here right now," or something like that. But they didn't do that. So instead, she's here on the bus and she's pretending she's sick. He's not buying it. Meanwhile, he, I guess, cuffs her to the,
What I found funny on the bus scene is that, the bus driver gave the whole thing about trouble, but at no point do they show him explaining to the bus driver that she's a bounty that he's collecting. So it's like they're just getting on, like, yeah, I'm just handcuffed to this woman and I'm going to handcuff her. I just thought that was like strange that he didn't actually take time to explain to the people around him why she was handcuffed.
You're probably right, but I mean, maybe if you have somebody that's discreet and you're just handcuffed to her and you think she'll shut up, maybe you don't think that would be an issue. But that wasn't the case with this lady. Like, she wasn't having it. So in hindsight, it seems like, or in retrospect, whatever it is, he should have done things differently. But maybe he just wasn't expecting her to cause such a mess on the bus, which was stupid of him, actually. But in any case, he's like, "Oh, you do look like Maxine." And then he talks to him and he says, is this the part where he says that she dies, or he doesn't know yet?
I think, they mentioned that.
20 minutes after you get off this bus, she dies, Sam.
Well, no, one of the things right here is he's asking, he says, "Well, you're supposed to prove that she's innocent," or something like that. And he's like, "What does Ziggy actually say?"
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Here they don't know that she's going to die. Here they just said that, like, "I'm 99% sure that she's supposed to be innocent." And he's like, "Why?"
What does Ziggy percent say? 99.9% that she's guilty.
And then, right, and then he goes, "Then why are you saying that?" "Well, she looks like my ex-wife, Sam." And then he says, "I thought that she was cheating on me with a Marine, and it ended up that she wasn't, and she was innocent," or something along those lines. And then Sam's like, "You're just thinking oh, sorry, you're just thinking with your loins. And then he's like, yeah, I'm thinking with my loins. And then he disappears. And then meanwhile, Sam goes back to her and she's continuing all of her, stuff. And this is the thing where she pulls somebody's hat off
and
throws it out, throws it out the window.
And then he's trouble.
Well, he said that your face is so ugly that I had to throw your hat out the window. And then he's like, how dare? Like, he gets upset and punches him. And then at this point that there's the whole, ruckus on the...
It felt a little bit of a stretch because by that point, when she's like pretending to throw up and whatnot, the guy across the aisle already knows that she's intolerable and shouldn't believe anything coming out of her.
Yeah.
But Sam knocks his hat over, puts it back, and she just grabs it, snatches it, and concocts a story, and he's just going to believe it, as opposed to, clearly, lady, you're handcuffed to a bounty hunter. He overreacted on top of that, and went after Sam when she should have been kind of pointing at her and saying, why are you a crazy lady?
I mean, I suppose that you need to suspend a little disbelief here, but I think that the actress and and Scott Bakula and whatever, they make it work.
Yeah, they do. They have great chemistry.
They do, and I like her. I don't know. I know that you said that she's been in other stuff.
Yeah, she was the Ross's ex-wife in Friends.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But there, I don't think she seemed as nice. I don't know why I like her here more.
Because she's actually, she's more likable here, despite the horrible accent she's delivering.
I know. Her performance in Friends is made to
You're not
make you very unsympathetic
Right.
towards her.
Yeah, because she's the
Right.
Isn't she? Didn't she?
She left Ross for another woman.
For another woman,
Right,
yeah,
yeah.
and then she's
While
always
she was pregnant with his son. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Today, probably that storyline wouldn't quite work the same way in our modern day and age.
No, that's what I find amazing about Friends. My wife constantly watches Friends, and there's so many times
I'm sorry to hear that.
Well, it doesn't bother me.
No, I'm just kidding.
It's not the sitcom I would put on, but it's just it amazes me how many jokes would be considered problematic today, and it's not that old, and it's still on TV all the time.
Yeah, I mean, and it's still popular, and still a bunch of young people watch it, so that doesn't offend them, but everything else does. So it is kind of annoying. But I will say this about Friends, that even though it's not my preferred show when it comes to comedies, if, let's say, just there's nothing else on and there's an episode of it, it's well made. It's not that you're watching it and you think that it's poorly made or just complete garbage. It's just, it's not always that thing that I want to watch. It feels like a more sanitized Seinfeld of sorts. I don't know if sanitized Seinfeld is a good way to describe it, but I always felt that they're like, what if we made like Seinfeld younger, hip, and with prettier, whatever? And I don't know. It's all right, I guess.
It was the big deal back in the day.
It was a big deal, and they put some ladies that look nice, and people, even
and
the dudes.
Those are the actors that got paid $1 million per.
Yeah,
they squeezed money out of that network.
I think the 5th or 6th season they started getting close to $1 million, and then I think the last 4 seasons they were making $1 million each, because they also signed a collective contract, which meant that since there was no real star of the show, because they're all supposed to have equal screen time, they should all get the same rate. Their agents did not like that, but it ended up benefiting them in the long run, because they all made, that was a $6 million minimum budget per episode at one point.
Right. I mean,
well, let's not talk too much about.
No, okay, yeah, okay. But it was like
we're gonna lose Tex again.
I don't want to lose Tex, but it was considered they did like a favored nation situation. At least that's what it's considered in the industry. Yep. But in any case,
like this bus driver, because I've known like bus drivers will kick people off, but like he just puts them on a corner in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he puts them in a corner in the middle of nowhere. But again, if you stop to think about it, maybe you can pick some things apart here. But it's fun seeing them. They sell it well. I like the chemistry between them. They're here. There's
Things
whatever.
happening.
And they end up in this barn, kind of conveniently, but whatever. They're in this
abandoned
barn
in Arkansas, 1971. Is it or no?
Six.
Six, yeah.
Like,
But I will
good
say
property right there. They should just settle down.
This I really liked. You know, I don't know how, but they created really nice chemistry between the two of them. It's just, you know,
They could have been their own spin-off show.
Yeah, it captured and it captures your interest. I mean, this party's in a stretch here within the barn with her, and it's interesting. I mean, you're not, you know, you really like seeing the interaction between them, and there's kind of will they, won't they, or kind of. It's obvious that even though she annoys him, he kind of likes her.
There's also
Slowly
it's the
but
heated
surely,
conflict. It's heated conflict as opposed to like subtle conflict or two people attracted to each other but trying to hide it. This one here, you have two people attracted to each other and trying to deny it.
It's the
Right.
best kind.
Yeah,
That's good. That's what makes it interesting. That the whole episode works because of that.
She's at this point, I don't think she's trying. She's trying to seduce him a little bit because she thinks he's dumb enough that he's gonna put his guard down and she's gonna get away. So, but it's just kind of interesting how she's like trying to manipulate him either to advance on her or what he eventually does, which is like put her on the other side of the room.
Next week is Halloween, and they're saying, I assume we're skipping next week. It's Halloween. Personally, I would be okay with doing it, but I would have to talk to the other people here. But that's a good question. You guys, all of you on the panel, think about it, and we'll decide at the end.
sure.
And then back to the episode, there's this whole thing, and you know the tension between them. And then she's like, "Well, before when my hand was rubbing up against yours, didn't you like that?" Or something like that. She's trying to seduce him, kind of, or get his attention. But he, you know,
that was a gun in my pocket.
Well, he's also pretty quick because he's like, I'm just gonna cuff you to this ladder.
Right. Yeah.
But before he can, she throws him, and I'm thinking,
again,
that's
lots
impressive.
of sass.
Yeah.
yeah. And sometimes I don't like that, but in this case, I do like it because at least there's like playfulness between them.
Yeah,
There's
and
that,
and
but
she was
also
kind of consistent.
Size wise, she's only like a few inches shorter than Scott Bakula. So
Right. I mean,
I think he's also underestimating her.
Yeah, I think so
Yeah.
too.
It's all about.
And then
love
she
you.
climbs up here after she kind of knocks him out, and she's like, "Sam, you gotta get up." And then he gets up,
Door's
and
locked, Sam.
the door's locked. And then she gets up, and he throws the ladder out. And then,
I love the running joke of every time he gets hurt, Al appears and like, "What are you doing, Sam?" He's like rubbing his head because she hit him with something, or he's in a mud puddle, or whatever it is. He's like, "What are you doing, Sam? She's getting away."
So he goes up to this ladder, runs after her, and then they both fall into this manure here.
oh yeah, that smells.
Yeah.
And then I guess at this point
I
he
think
ties
that
her.
was pig too.
Yeah, pig manure. And then he ties her here to this chair. She's like, "You stink."
I think it's funny how he's like, "Do you think he overdid it with the rope?" He's like, "No." And I just remember like being a lot younger and tying my sister to a chair like that because she was annoying me. And this is pretty much how I'd behave. Anytime she want me to move her or do something, I'd just move her with the chair and just leave her there until my parents got upset.
This is the scene that kind of bugs me because they're in. It seems like they're in such close proximity, and she doesn't say anything to the fact that Sam is like talking to thin air.
She responds to him a couple of times, like he's
but not
somehow talking to
enough.
her.
Right.
But she should be. Are you going crazy over there? What are you babbling about? Or
Right.
a comment like that would have been well placed here.
Yeah.
I see the dead man is quoting Back to the Future.
Yes.
Wonderful
Yeah.
movie.
Yes, that's a tangent we can go down. That's immediately what I thought. Manure.
The Calavici
manure.
5 stages of love. Remind me, what does he say here?
There's denial, followed by sex, then
Mhm.
anger, and some more sex, and then acceptance.
Divorce was in there.
Yeah,
That's
Divorce was
funny.
thrown in
Yeah,
there.
divorce, and then if you're
More
lucky,
sex if you're lucky.
yeah.
So At this point, does Al already tell him that she's gonna die or not yet?
Yeah, I think.
Yes,
I think they've known already. Yeah.
That's part of what they're arguing about. He's like,
No.
hey, this is my job. It's the courts. It's this. And she's answering too, as well as Al, that this isn't a just situation.
Right. So they haven't figured out that she dies yet. He's just arguing that she's innocent because he trusts her eyes. And Sam is saying no. And Al's like, well, I'm going to prove it. And then that's when he walks away.
Right. And then she tries to tell him, she's like, I'm not that big criminal that you think I am. And he's like, right, get some sleep.
I don't know why he'd be so close to her at that point, given the smell. Like she's tied up on a
Well,
chair.
I mean,
Can't get up.
He's
he
also
smells
smelly.
too.
Yeah.
At a certain point, it's unescapable.
I do think though that Sam really has has such a tolerance. I mean, every time there's like attractive ladies all over him, and he's always like, no, it's for the mission. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I respect it on one hand, and on the other hand, I understand Ro. It annoys him every
It
time.
It would be
Well,
really
horrible.
slimy in this situation, though.
In this situation,
prisoner.
I guess I
Yeah.
understand. But there's a future situation in this episode that's not as slimy, but still, nevertheless, ends as we usually see with Sam.
Mm.
In any case, the bus arrives, and he's like, the sheriff's like, well, where are they? And he's like, I got them off. They were causing a mess on my bus. Trouble. They caused trouble on my bus.
And
He
there's a
goes,
law that says I can kick them off if I think I'm going to die.
And then they're like,
And I like how the sheriff's like, yeah, well, that makes sense. And the other guy's like freaking out, like, my money. And just like, no, it's okay. They'll turn up. And
I need to get my money. And then he's like, all right, I'll make some calls and we can have breakfast together or something like that.
Mm.
And then they're here. And even here, it seems like she's doing something to get a ride, but she gets in and pushes him into the mud.
more of that physical comedy.
Yes. And then, I mean,
think of how that
flat face, first into that mud, whatever that composition is made out of, but I'm sure it can't be easy. Just
imagine how the shoots for these days, because they had the thing in the barn into the fake manure, and they're out here and there's this mud puddle, and one, they're probably trying to get in one shot because once he's covered in it, but they do a couple of different angles of his face coming up when Al comes to talk to him. So I'm wondering, did they have multiple cameras, or did they have to put his face down in it a couple of times? And that's going to make a day.
That. So this is like a technique called a surface mud. So on what he's like leaning in is actually just a clean pool of water, and then they put like the surface mud on the top. So that means he can keep submerging himself, and he won't get more muddy than he actually is, because they just have to shift the mud that's on top. That's kind of like a skin around, so they can reset it so he can dip back in again and pull out. And you can tell from this because when you get a close up shot of him and he pulls his face out of the mud, it's still relatively clean. Yeah.
But that just means you're getting wet. You're doing that that's got to be a day after a couple of hours of getting everything set up, doing that, getting wet, and sloshing in your shoes.
I agree with you, Script. Your theory is good.
Well, I mean, because again, we've probably all fallen into an actual mud puddle, and it's
not clean like this.
It's not clean like that. That's really just kind of like muddy water. Like they just threw in probably some brown sugar and some other food products on top of it just to thicken it up a little, and probably like powdered pudding or something of that nature. That's always been a common use.
And then here he's like, Sam, she got out. He must have known that she was stinky. And then
watch out for the thorns. Thorns.
Yeah.
And then they go to this hotel. You talk. Yeah, I'm at this hotel. I'm at this hotel right now, Sheriff. And
that hotel or the motel, whatever, looks kind of familiar.
It's a motel.
Like the Bates Motel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like how the lady's completely oblivious to them while she's doing it. I was like, yeah, it's like,
yeah, everybody.
oh, are you
everybody
on
that
your
comes across-
honeymoon?
Right.
It's like they smell a pig
They
junk.
smell-
You know, it's like, I think I would be asking questions before I would let them into a room that I'd have to
Right.
clean later.
Right. She is maybe because it's in Arkansas, people are more forgiving.
It's like, you're using the room to shower, right? Yes.
We hope.
And then at this point, she's watching The Bionic Woman. She's like, "Oh, I love that show." This is actually, I will say this, is that I actually like the fact that she's watching The Bionic Woman because she's sort of a, badass, and you can tell that she's not afraid to hit people and do this, and she sees herself as kind of like a hero in a way, and she likes the Bionic Woman who's a hero. It would make sense that she would like this show based on the character that we've been shown until now, I think.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's Lindsay
can see
Wagner
that.
fan. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
And I thought it was a good placement, a nice wink and nod there.
Right.
wink and nod to the fact that she also wants to be like this tough lady, but at the same time, also it's a good thing of its time. So it's nice that we're seeing it. I bet Tex Rogers is now looking it up and saying like, this episode didn't air when they said it would aired.
Plot hole.
Only aired in 77.
Right. Oh, and later on he turns the TV on and
It's
Donnie
Donnie
and Marie.
turns it
And
off.
then he
right
turns it
away.
off completely. And I'm wondering if that's kind of like a little dig at the show, or what the history is by selecting that. But that's kind of funny.
Oh, that's a good question. I wonder. Yeah.
Yeah.
We should look into that.
At this point, she's like, I didn't really steal that money. I was trying to give it back to people. My mom had a stroke. She invested in that scheme.
From here on, I feel like Sam is shirtless for the rest of the episode.
No,
Yeah.
but you kind of get you get the impression that I don't know why he uncuffed her. She could still squeeze the tube into the other hand and just use one hand to rub it on his back.
I think that's
That's true.
Sam's subconscious kind of saying, let her out.
You kidding? I think if he were Al there, he's like, no, we're going to keep those handcuffs on and still have fun.
And here,
I was going to text you guys. Sam finally gets some action.
Almost.
almost.
Right.
This kind of reminds me of that episode with the model where it's so close.
Well, she's really trying because, she's hoping he'll fall romantically for her because then he won't turn her in.
Right.
Right. And then she still uses this opportunity to take off.
Lisa says it was written by a woman, so I think that's why he's shirtless. Yeah, could be.
Could be.
I can believe
that's
it.
probably true.
And she pulls the since we were talking about Friends earlier, she goes out the bathroom window.
And then he catches her. She has a gun. She cuffs him, even though it's not a real gun. But how come Sam didn't know it wasn't a real gun?
I guess he wasn't paying much attention.
Yeah. And maybe that cop later on frequents this hotel and knows the fake guns from the real guns.
Well, you'd think a cop would be able to tell. So
Yeah.
at this point, he knows it's a fake one.
Well, this is also at a period of time when they didn't care about not making the fake lighter that looks like a gun look
Right.
real.
Right.
Right, that's true. That is absolutely true.
Because remember in I think the first episode of the Batman show with Adam West, the Riddler's holding up what appears like he's holding up a guy at gunpoint, but it's actually a lighter, and the gun looks so real it tricks Batman and causes that series of events. So, continuing theme here.
Even thinking back to when I was a kid in the 90s, like the squirt guns that you could get like at the dollar store looked like actual guns. And now they make a point of making them colorful colors and
Right.
not look real.
Yeah. When I was a kid in Canada, they were always clear. Like they were like red clear, green clear, yellow clear guns. But like the detail on it was great. If you spray painted it, it would look just like a real gun. But
Yeah.
Just a few quick comments. Kit Kat says, love that she's watching The Bionic Woman. I like it too. Rob Nut Scubla says The Bionic Woman is a spin-off of the $6 Million Man. Her origin story is in the latter. True.
Yep.
And then let's see. Lisa Katryan says, it was written by a woman. I think that's why he's shirtless. That's what you were saying. But then Ron Donofrio said, bummer if a man wrote it, she would be shirtless.
Could be.
on
Very,
network
very
TV.
good points. And at this point in the show,
Well, technically, she was, but she's still pretty modestly covered.
Yeah, she's
Right.
wearing like the slip under the underslip or whatever it's called.
it was naughty, but not but modest at the same time. So this time he's like, "Well, little lady, you're coming with me." And then he takes her, and they go in the car, and they drive away. And then he's like, "Sam, she still dies in 20 minutes."
Yeah.
So then at this point,
Wait, here's his car.
is it his car?
Yeah, because gets in there and he drives and he goes after them.
How does he get into that car, really?
Where did that car
How does
come
he get
from?
clothed?
Yeah.
Oh, did you lose
I
the
wonder-
end of it?
No,
He
I have
has to
another
divide
file
it
for
in
Okay.
2 parts.
But
yeah,
I like
we're
how
talking
when he
about his-
tells him that she dies in 20 minutes, he's shirtless. And then the next thing we see, he's got a shirt on and he's at the car. So he took the time to go put a shirt on.
How
And
does he have time
suspenders.
to? No, but and whose car does he hijack this car? Is it like
That's a
No,
good.
I think he's. They show him looking in the window, so I think he's like just in the parking lot of the motel looking for somebody that left their keys in the car.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know
I
that
remember.
anybody would. Even in 1976, I don't think somebody would just leave their keys. But we've gotten this far.
in a rural town
People
like
still do it today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Especially in a rural
You'd be
town where there's
surprised,
not
but
many
people still do it.
then
And the
he's like,
locksmith would know.
Yeah, it's still. I've had a few times where I don't want to get punched, so I don't do it. But I see people do it, and I half want to take the key out and go take it to them inside, or move the car in the parking lot just to show them, hey, that's not a smart idea.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got a worse one for you. I knew a guy that literally locked his keys in his car, and couldn't get him out. And even the locksmith couldn't get out because it's one of the more modern cars that didn't have the exterior lock. It was all key fob stuff.
Uh-huh.
And the reason he left it in the car is because he took it out. He thought he put it in his pocket, but he missed his pocket. It just fell between his lap. And then he got out of the car and closed it. And then it auto locked.
Yeah, and those modern keys, they're not supposed to be able to do that. But if the battery's low in it, because the car's not supposed to be able to lock with them in it. But if it falls down or something, and then it can't get close enough, in those situations, what I've done is actually take the tool and grab the keys and pull it up closer to the sensor, and the door unlocks.
well, a few things. Kid Kat thinks he stole it.
Probably, yeah.
The dead man says people leave their keys in the visor. It's possible, I guess. Caleb Levine had an interesting question. Was Belisario connected to the Bionic Woman? He included some of his shows in his other show. Jag had a bit where was a Quantum Leap convention in an episode. I don't know. That's a good question.
The Bionic Woman was Universal, which is also the network that was doing Quantum Leap. So that
did he ever write an episode for maybe the Bionic Woman, or were this is
no? Well, but Belisario's writing started after the Bionic Woman was canceled.
It's a Ken Johnson.
Started in
production.
'77, I think.
So I guess he just liked the show and put it in there.
Yeah.
And they had
But
the
I do
rights
love
to it.
when like you were talking about in Jag, the Quantum Leap. I love stuff like that. Me and my wife are doing a rewatch of Castle, and it was the Halloween episode, and his costume, he comes out there in his garb from Firefly, and they go, "What are you supposed to be?" And he's like, "I'm a space cowboy." and I was like, that's just such a good nod. And my wife's like, "What? Why are you all happy?" Because she's never seen Firefly. But I like when they do that.
Oh yeah, that's for fans.
back to our wonderful video thing. So he gets in the car. He maybe he steals it, maybe he doesn't. I don't know. But at this point, she's in the car, and it turns out that the sheriff is there, but he's also with that Rodney guy. And Al shows up because Sam says, "I need you to zero in on her and let me know where she's at."
I think this is one of my favorite effects for Al popping in when there's a car driving, and they've done it before where there's a car driving and he just kind of like appears outside the window because he's a hologram.
He's like,
yeah, his position is physically in sync with whatever he's observing.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool always.
So this guy's like, "You're going to tell me where the money is at." And then she's like, "I can't remember now. It's been such a long time." And then he's like, "Now you tell me right now, woman." "Now, little lady, I assure you, if you tell us where it's at, we're going to let you go." And then she's like, "No, you're just going to kill me." And then at the end, she says, "Okay, it's in Travel Town." Something like that. And then...
I mean,
they-
this guy, he played Callan in Krull. Like, he's, the main character. And he's plays a good villain. And he also plays a villain in Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Nick, you should recognize him. He's what's his name? Eddington.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Eddington. I think it's Eddington. Yeah.
So at this point, where exactly? It's inside a train. I can't remember which one it is, though. So then they take her there, and you can't remember where you put $1 million. So then they take her to the thing. "Sam, she's very close to there. She's gonna die."
I like how he gets on the outside, and Sam's like, "What are you doing? Why are you there? What? It's weird."
Yeah, they made good use of that effect that Ro likes. So then he
Mhm.
pulls her, and he says, "Okay."
And
well,
now that you said that, I'm just looking at how much more hair he has in this.
I think that's a wig, actually.
Oh, okay.
which this guy?
Yep.
Yeah.
This is a wig. It looks like his hair is kind of thin here.
Yeah, it's
Maybe.
thinning.
I mean, other shots it definitely looked a lot thicker, but there definitely you can see his hairline is very.
It was a humid day.
So then they go here, and she tries to get away from them, and they're like, "You're going
Oh,
to tell me where that money is right now."
Script, is this what you're talking about? Where they did?
Yeah, that's in the last rights. As soon as
Yeah.
Sam gets involved, then we're seeing like basically something.
"Here's the money. Here you go." And then he goes, "Sam, 5, 4, 3, 2." And then as like they take the gun out, he jumps. And then
again, she's not afraid to jump too on the second guy too.
right.
I like how he knows to the second.
Mhm.
Like for all the times that it's very unclear, the records are like, I know the exact second she died.
Right.
And then here it becomes Walker, Texas Ranger. They do some roundhouse kick.
Yep.
Right. There's something the sheriff knows that it's a fake gun or whatever it is, right?
They basically said, I was like, "Oh, you did it. Everything's going great." Oh, wait, now the percentage is dropping down. What the
Right,
heck?
yeah.
And then that's when he's like, "Wait, that's a lighter." And then that's when Sam and her react. And
And then basically, he has the gun and the thing. He's like, "Well, a lot of people are going to be surprised to get their letters now, right?" Then they go and they put it in the...
Explain to me again, because what are the letters? I thought it was money. What?
They're the checks. Yeah, that's why I was confused. Like I thought she had
$1
cashed
million.
the money,
Right.
but because she's going to jail for writing bad checks, but apparently they haven't been cashed yet, which I'm kind of like, why would you hide it in a train and not just hide it in a mail place?
And it's
Right.
never a smart idea, even in the 70s, to mail physical cash in the envelope because, postal workers were known for taking it.
Yeah.
But
Well, that's
remind
what I
me,
thought, that they were checks in them.
maybe they were money orders, but then she wouldn't need the signature for it. I mean, I agree. Now, this is a plot hole that I don't understand. If she
Mhm.
really wanted to do this, she could have just mailed all of this when she had it initially. Why would she hide it on a train?
She stole the money, opened an account, put it in there, and sent it and got the checks for it. But even with a money order, you still have to sign for that as the account holder. Because I can't go up to another person's bank account and ask for a money order from that account for any denomination, right? So you have to be the person.
I mean, let's chalk it up that maybe in 1976 you can somehow fake this easier than today. But I still think that she was working for the guy, so maybe they know her at the bank. Maybe whatever she's saying on opening another account from him, on transferring from one place to another. But it turns out that only she has control of this account, and only she's writing these checks. And they're really connected to an account with $1 million in it, maybe even under his name, but he doesn't know how to get into it. It's very
The
far-fetched.
only thing that I could kind of fan headcanon here is, because they don't explain it, they leave it up in the air,
they do.
is that she needed to get it to another county or state before she could put it in the mail because she knew he bought everybody off and that he would just be able to go to the post office and collect them.
Ron Donofero says, unless the envelopes contain cash, it is a plot hole. And anybody that has access to those kind of stickers, then there's a plot hole sticker that you can emoji or whatever it is. Let's see. Do I have access to them?
You should.
So, and now we're kind of at the point though where she's going to turn herself in to is it state or federal?
I think.
Oh, here they actually Caleb Levine and Kit Kat did the plot hole one. Ron Donofero. Yeah. That actually makes me very happy.
Here's another thing though. If those were the actual crime that she committed, then Sam just assisted her. So then he should be turning himself in too for assisting in the crime.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
or she just takes culpability because he did not know he was assisting in the crime. Like, he can claim ignorance or under duress. Especially when you take a look at the scars on his body from the last couple of days.
Why couldn't he take her to a hotel room now that they're done with all this business?
Well, she's got to go turn herself in.
Price is a one-track mind.
No, it's not a one-track mind. This is already like the.
I mean, there was a lot of tension there. You would assume that let's get one more in the hay before we leave.
Right. I mean, the thing is, this is close to already the 50th episode or something, and so many occasions he has, and he never wants to do anything.
He's consistent, I guess.
He's only done the deed once, and that was in Vietnam.
Right, and there he did it because he felt that it was important to save his brother's life, and he took one for the team.
Too. Yeah,
he did attempt in one of them. He finally made the decision that he was, and then he leaped.
Yep.
That train where they were riding on the train.
Oh yeah, that'd be the second episode technically, or third episode, I think. Yeah.
Yep.
So anyhow, he's like, you wouldn't make a good bounty hunter. And he's like, Sam, you're right. She becomes the best bounty hunter ever. And then he leaps. And it's like...
I had to spoil myself and watch the first 5 minutes of the next episode because I'm like, how does the episode not just end there with him getting fried?
Yeah, right.
And what would happen to him if he was in the body and it died? Would he leap or would he just be stuck?
No, that's it. He'd be probably, I think he'd die.
It's like, this is the end of your trip here, Sam. You fixed every wrong that I needed righted.
But you know what though? Didn't he say at the end of that teaser for next week? Didn't he, instead of "oh boy," didn't he say "oh God"?
Yes, he did.
And maybe there's some sort of intervention there.
Maybe, or maybe it's the fact that this is the first time he's in one that is so big. It's too big for a "oh boy." It's an "oh God."
Yeah. But
I know, Ro, you told us ahead of time that you're going to have to miss next week.
Well, if we all miss next week, then I'll be back the following week.
Oh.
If we miss Halloween, so we'll see.
Is it on Halloween night or?
Yeah, I think Halloween is Thursday.
Oh. And then we probably should skip, just because our viewers might be busy doing stuff. I won't be, but our viewers might.
Some of the viewers said that Halloween was important to them, that they're not going to make it. Somebody said that. Tex, maybe Ron, maybe somebody said that.
See, I'm antisocial. I may not want to be in my van with the light on because usually I'm in darkening my house and
move along.
Well, I tried my best in hopes that I feel like I really want to see the day where Tex Rogers gets a membership, but I still worry that he hasn't enabled gifts. But it is what it is. Anyhow, back to this episode. So yeah, it's like we watched the video of it. I guess at this point we can just kind of give our thoughts on it. Ro, how did you feel about this episode?
I enjoyed it. I think it was fun. I think after last week, it seemed like there was a sense of like comedy in last week too, but I think they ramped it up in this one. But they did it so well because both actors played off of each other really brilliantly, and they complemented each other. I think it wasn't kind of like a single actor, doing stuff like over the top. I think both of them interacted with each other in a way that it was enjoyable for us to see the chemistry that they both had. So I really liked it, and I like the actress. What's her name? Jennifer or something or other. I forgot her name, but yeah, they were really good together. I think I liked the story. I liked the acting, and Scott Bakula is just wonderful, multi-talented actor, and every so often he surprises me. So it's really great.
Yeah, I like him too, and it's so nice to see him in different situations every week, and he manages to still be Sam, but still show so much
Restraint.
No, I mean that he manages to show us that he's leaped into all these different people. He's Sam on the one hand, but on the other hand, he also does what he needs to. It's such a challenging role.
Absolutely. I was going to say, I don't think any other, we talked earlier about perfect casting. And
wait. There's some big things going on. Lisa Katrine and Tex Rogers have been given memberships.
Oh, very nice.
Yay, finally.
Yes, Tex got one.
Oh, finally.
Even a broken clock is right twice a day. But I was going to say, we were talking about casting, and I don't think any other actor would have been as successful in this role as Scott Bakula because of his talent.
Yeah,
where's Lisa? I hope she sees that she got it too.
But I think it works. It works well that how well he adapts and comes into the characters.
Yeah,
I mean, and he's situations where he's changing race, changing gender. He's playing very different people, and he doesn't. What I like about it is he adapts into it, but he doesn't go too comical. Like when he was the gangster, he didn't start talking like he was on Goodfellas or something.
Right.
So it doesn't become comedic, but in a way that he relates himself, he does pretty good. And I think, last week was more the fish out of water comedy, where this is more like the physical slapstick, everything bad happens to me comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of times in a rom-com what you get. Like,
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just liked I don't know. I feel like I should have seen this actress in more stuff. I thought she was really good here. And
I recognized her right away. I didn't recognize specifically where I've seen her. I know that I've seen her somewhere.
She's been in a lot of stuff. Like she's a character actor. So she never really lands like a lead role on a TV series. But she's been in Star Trek once. Looking here, I think the longest stretch she's had was playing a character named Jane Wilson in Santa Barbara, which I'm not familiar with that show.
It's like a
must be a soap opera.
Yeah.
Which was she on TNG?
Yeah, she was actually uncredited as a holographic dancer in the episode Data's Day.
Okay.
And
when you said that, suddenly I was because I just finished last week my TNG rewatch.
Oh well, I mean, there's 3 Star Trek technically Star Trek actors in this episode. Dean Stockwell was in the episode of Enterprise. Scott Bakula, obviously,
right.
Her as the hologram, and the guy that played Eddington. He's
yeah.
Yeah.
But she's been in 21 Jump Street. She was in the original Fall Guy series back in '86. So yeah, she's a character actor. She's constantly getting work. Even to this day, she's got she's in apparently another project coming out. Looks like a short film.
Well, that's
Now
good
I'm
to
thinking
know
about
that
Eddington, man. He was such a slimy character. They tried to make him sympathetic, and it was like I had no sympathy for that guy.
Well, he was doing it for ego and attention. That's why.
Yeah.
Like, even if he believed it or not, he still was like, it was more about him than it was about the cause.
Well, I guess we kind of went over it. I think it's a good episode. This is one that I wouldn't say it's like my top 10 episodes, but I think it's one. It's not like a bottom of the barrel one, and
No.
it's one that has a memorable element to it. It's not that there's anything completely out of the ordinary, but not every episode do they team Sam up with a woman who I think, that Scott Bakula and her have this type of chemistry, and the story also. It was a good setup for this type of chemistry to work, but I also think the casting was great and that they both really delivered here. So even if there's plot holes and it doesn't always make sense and it's a little more slapsticky and comedy and things like that, it still works because of the goodwill that you have from fans and the really good performances from everybody involved.
True.
Like you said, it's not top 10 series overall, but I would probably put it in my top 10 of this season.
Yes, and in this season it's in the top 10, but overall of all the 50 that we've seen until now, or close to 50, it's not in that top 10, but it's still closer to the higher end of the table and not the lower end. It's not like the worst 10 episodes or anything like that. This is I'd say above average episode, one that's fun and reminds us of what exactly the things we like about this show. Lisa Contrayan says that it would be in her top 20 favorite episodes. That's fair enough. I would give it maybe top 30, but I have to think about it more.
Now, Lisa, how much does the shirtless Sam factor in there for you?
Yes, of course.
But yeah, that's what makes it a top 20. No, but I guess now we have to all decide. I'm okay with doing a Halloween one next week if people are up for it, but I know that Ro is away. Script, I don't know what your schedule is like, or
Nick?
I
don't know what's going on Halloween's not really a holiday; it's just a cultural celebration. So people still work on that day. You don't get it off with time paid. So
right.
Yeah, I mean,
it's my
I'm not
holiday.
someone who does anything for that, but since some of our listeners have stated that are people who watch us live every week, I'd figure for them. I mean, yes, they can watch the rewatch, but they're the people who are in the comments with us every week. If they're saying they're going to miss it because of that, then I would think it would be good to just postpone.
How do I do a poll? How do I do a poll where people can decide? Is there something like this, or am I making up?
You can't do it through Stream Yard. I don't think you have to go to the actual chat.
Wait here. Start a poll.
There you go.
Should we do a stream next week on Halloween?
This is way too wordy. It should just be October 31st live stream. Yes or no?
Okay, sorry, that's better. October 31st, QL stream, yes or no? Okay. Here, let's see what happens.
Okay.
And of course, you could anonymously decide.
I would say the other thing is, if Ro's going to miss it, then it's going to be us gringos deciding how good of a Latino Sam played next week.
That's right.
So
I can't miss it, damn it.
How long do I leave the poll up for? How does this work?
Until everybody votes. So vote. Go vote. Get out the vote.
Does it go away when the stream ends?
As P. Diddy once said, vote or die.
And as we say in Chicago, vote early and vote often. Wow, we're right in the middle.
We're 50-50, it looks like.
Oh, this is such a... This is...
It is done deliberately so to mess with you, Price.
People can't decide if to do it or not. Oh, this is really difficult.
It's locked.
Wow.
Come on, guys. You gotta
17 people watching, only 10 votes, 11 votes. Okay.
come on, everybody's got to vote. We're in the yes.
Yeah. We're I feel like the shopping network. Going once, going twice.
We need a few more
Lisa's
votes.
undecided.
Oh, now it's back.
Back to no.
Nope,
Back
now
to
it's up.
50-50.
Now
it's back.
It's vacillating.
Wow.
It's 50-50. How do I show this on screen, or can I show it?
If you pop out the chat and do share window, you can share that particular chat window. Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, but I can choose to end the poll at some point. I'll tell you what, we'll do one more minute. I'm gonna do a stopwatch now.
Well, it looks like yeah. I think that's good. There's 5 more of you listeners out there
that are undecided, apparently.
Stopwatch. I'm starting now. We got 1 minute.
Well, they could be watching it on a television and not having able to, or driving or whatever. So
that's true.
That always happens when you're streaming. Is why don't those people interact? And a lot of those people are doing some other task. They may be at work secretly with an earbud in their ear.
Their hands are not free.
Yep.
Professor R2 says, "Do it, you cowards."
We're skewing in the no. 13 votes.
Mm-hmm.
There's only 25 seconds left.
It's not as if it won't happen. It just won't happen next week.
Right.
Yeah, we will cover the episode.
I'll tell you what. We have 10 more seconds left. 10 more seconds. 3, 2, 1.
Ooh.
And that's it.
The no's take it with 57% of the vote.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
that was exciting.
It was
exciting. Yeah. We haven't seen so much action here on Quantum Leap Revisited since the beginning of our stream, probably. But in any case, that's the result. 57% would prefer we didn't do the stream next week. I'll tell you what. I'm going to think about it, and maybe I'll do something that's, do something for people who maybe aren't going out on Halloween. It may not be like just sitting and doing a proper episode, but maybe some kind of talk about something Quantum Leap related. So then if people feel like hanging out, they'll have something to hang out with. And if they don't, they're not really missing, a proper episode discussion. So maybe it'll be something like I show some scenes that I liked. Maybe I give a number of scenes that I enjoyed that we've seen in episodes until now, and just give some highlights of stuff that I liked. Maybe some behind the scenes info that I learned.
Price's reasons. Top 10 times Sam should have gone with it.
should have consummated. Yes.
Yeah. Top 10 Scott Bakula fumbles with ladies or whatever it is. But yeah, I'll think of something, and I'm going to still want to do something to entertain people that maybe aren't celebrating Halloween, but it will not be a full kind of episode the way we've done until now. It's going to be kind of a Halloween special. One that people can easily then later watch if they feel like it, and if they don't, it won't really make a difference.
You can take the crown off of your little lobster head and put like a Halloween mask on.
Actually, I already have something like that. Let me show you what I have. This is my Count Dracula outfit.
Very nice.
So I'll be ready for Halloween.
You are a character.
And then Super Mario Brothers. See, Price of Reason live sing songs as heard on Quantum Leap. It's not a bad idea, but
not a bad idea at all.
I do have a different voice than Scott Bakula, and I don't know how well I would pull that off, but it's an interesting idea. I'll think about it. And Blah blah blah. To what is he saying that? Blah blah.
Blah blah. All right. Okay.
I don't know to what the reaction was.
Yeah, the blow. Do that with a Count
maybe
Dracula.
from the Sesame Street Count guy.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Blah blah. That's
Blah blah blah. Yeah, that's me. So I think everybody's super impressed with my Count Dracula outfit. And on that very positive note, I'll just quickly say that Ro, he has his channel, which is the Sacrif Podcast. That's your channel, right?
That is correct. I just noticed that none of us have names under our boxes.
Oh,
Like
You
usually.
did earlier.
why is that?
I don't know.
We had it earlier. I think it went away when Price was messing with the poll and stuff. And
No, that's weird.
somebody mentioned it earlier, like way
Oh.
earlier, that we didn't have
Oh.
name.
maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Uh,
Murr says he hasn't been there the entire time.
oh no, but I don't know what to do. How did it go away?
I don't know. Must be in a setting somewhere. We'll get it fixed next time,
Yeah.
guys.
It's too late
Yeah.
now. It's over. If they don't know us by now.
But still, I'll say that to the right of me, there's Sacrif Podcast. You can subscribe to that channel. It's Ro. Then you have the Script Doctor. Now that I think about it, I haven't seen the names from the beginning. You're right. And we have Nick here. He has 2 YouTube channels. He has Adventures in Locksmithing and the Backyard Tardis. And I recommend that you check those out and subscribe and check out what he's doing. And for next week, we'll figure out what happened to the names. Actually, before, when we did Midnight Subs, I think I also didn't see our names. Maybe it's a StreamYard thing. I don't know. Maybe they changed something in the settings. A lot of things could be happening, but we'll figure it out and hopefully fix it for next time.
Alrighty.
You know what? It's now when I look at it, it's as if that that feature is like disappeared when I look at StreamYard.
Engineers changing things just to change things.
No, I have a feeling that it's some kind of glitch. Could be wrong, but that's what I'm going with for now.
well, knowing how things are going, it's probably a feature now locked between, StreamYard Plus Premium, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that I pay them something. They should like give us the option. If they took that away, that's really, really crummy to do. But
Yeah, well,
anything is possible.
companies
I
do that.
actually don't know, but I'm hoping that's not the case. In any case, I'm happy that people were here. Let me say some thank yous to people that hung out with us. So happy also that Tex Rogers and Lisa Katryan finally got their badges. Okay, so we got Joshua Calkins, who said not a classic episode, but I'm glad to be revisiting all of them here anyways. Thanks for joining us. Tex Rogers, we have Kit Kat, Ron Donafero, Rob Nutskubla, Kit Kat. We got, if I forget somebody, tell me, but trying my best. Malachi D. Wildman, nice to see you here. Dovahkiin, sorry. I did it wrong, completely wrong, but my intentions were good. Mur Rockstra, Malachi D. Wildman, I said. Dovahkiin, Lisa Katryan, I said, I think, Kit Kat.
We have twice as many viewers now than we did when we started.
That is true. People join, and I know I saw Super Mario Brothers 3 here.
Yeah.
Yep.
A lot of time Joshua and him pop up later for the rewatch it later, but it's nice they were here live. Caleb Levine, The Dead Man, and trying to see. I always feel like there's somebody that I miss. And you guys can help me out if you see something, and you can say it. Keely Chow, Vex Electronica, of course, is a friend of mine. And I think we did it.
Yeah.
If I miss somebody, I apologize. We do the best we can. But as always, it's great hanging out with everybody. And I think at this point, I'm going to go to our outro and play our song and wrap everything up. So, like I said, next week there won't be an official review, but there will be something that involves maybe just reflecting back on some episodes or scenes or something. I'd say a Halloween special of sorts, which something will happen in that special, and I guess it's a surprise. So you all have a good night, and we'll see you here next week. Bye.